The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rule. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, law enforcement authorities concerned about developing trends in the movement of illegal firearms in the country. The recent discovery of a large cache of illegal guns in Exuma has highlighted the problem, and now special focus is being given to training of uniformed officers stationed at all ports of entry. Sabrina Brown reports.
The Bahamas Customs and Immigration Departments joining forces with the Royal Bahamas Police Force to curb the smuggling of illegal firearms and ammunition into the country. Assistant Comptroller of Customs Sherrick Martin says the illegal gun trade is a major issue to law enforcement officials.
We have seen some disturbing trends of smuggling of firearms, and based on what has happened within the last few weeks, I don't think that we can be comfortable, and we are to advise our officers that you cannot trust anyone. Based on what we've seen, it's disturbing. It is far beyond our imagination.
Martin says gun smugglers are becoming more creative in the execution of their illegal activities, and therefore uniformed branches are stepping up their efforts to eradicate this menace to society.
Firearms now are smuggled through auto parts. What they do, they break down the auto parts, and a lot of things I will evade your question because these are intelligence, and you're seeing some things they're being smuggled within cereal boxes, and a lot of, I think we had a case here the other day where they were smuggled in Ziploc juices.
The officers were given a demonstration of some of the crafty smuggling techniques and some of the unassuming items that are being used to facilitate the illegal import. The bottom line, officials say, it can no longer be business as usual and never underestimate anyone. The U.S. Border Protection is also partnering with local authorities in this initiative. Team leader Charles Grimes says the collaborative effort is significant.
It's key to the security of the islands. It's the best way to keep the people here safe, and Mr. Martin has taken some initiatives that I find really remarkable. What he's done is he's opened the door to every law enforcement agency in the Bahamas to work together, and each one sees every case in its own unique way, and because they do, all of those brains thinking together will be a lot more effective than any one group.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
In other news, 4 Chinese and a Colombian found hiding out on Grand Bahama. The migrants were arrested by immigration officers and hauled before the magistrate court. The Colombian man pled guilty to overstaying in the Bahamas. He was convicted and fined $3,000. He would have to pay the fine by noon tomorrow, or he will be sentenced to a year behind bars. Now, the 4 Chinese pled guilty as well and were each fined $3,000 or a year at Her Majesty's prison. Due to the upcoming holiday weekend, they were given until Tuesday of next week to pay the fines, and once those fines are paid, Magistrate Debbie Ferguson has ordered that the group be deported. The Board of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas announcing several managerial appointments here at ZNS Northern Service. A release issued by the BCB noted that Byron Stubbs, who headed ZNS Northern Service operation since September 2007, has reached the normal retirement age after 34 years of dedicated service. Stanley Pinder, Director of Radio, has been appointed to replace Stubbs as Deputy General Manager of ZNS Northern Service. Pinder will be assisted by Darren Meadows, who is being promoted to the post of Director with responsibility for television and technical production. The corporation commends Byron Stubbs for his many years of unblemished service to broadcasting and to ZNS in particular as an outstanding radio announcer. In congratulating both Pinder and Meadows on their respective promotions, Executive Chairman Reverend Dr. William Thompson noted that the board and management are confident that together they will lead the ZNS charge in the Northern Bahamas. Stanley Pinder previously served in various capacities at the corporation, including engineering, television, production, news, and more recently as Director of Radio. He holds a degree in electronics and radio communications, journalism, and mass communications from the College of the Bahamas. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition continues right after this.
bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. 5 young persons one step closer to realizing their dream. The group accepted the challenge issued by a local businessman who is encouraging young people to never give up and always follow their dreams. The 5 winners were announced yesterday. Out of 30 contestants, only 5 would receive $20,000 and be a part of an historic challenge that gave residents on Grand Bahama a chance of a lifetime, starting their own business and being empowered. After months of taking part in the Elnet Empowerment Foundation Challenge, on Monday the announcement was made. The 5 persons chosen: Rayvano Ferguson of Fast Track Management, Felisa McPhee of Bahama Putt Putt, Labyrinth and Letitia Glass of Kosher, Iris Monroe and Willis Monroe of 2020 Bone Fishing Guide Services, and Howard Bowe Jr. of Abstract Music Group.
Fast Track Management is going to be the Bahamas' first sports management agency, not just target towards one specific sport, but we're targeting all sports such as swimming, tennis, basketball. We want to feed into that sports tourism market, and we're also looking to enhance our athletic ability through athletic training of our various athletes in the various sporting disciplines.
Bahamas Putt Putt is a portable miniature golf course. Each one is shaped like an island in the Bahamas, and so as you play you get to learn about each island, the settlements on the island, and what's unique about each island.
Our company is basically a customization company. We're going to be customizing tees, bags, accessories, portfolio binders, so anything that, well, basically we found out that there's no company like ours here on the island.
Abstract Music Group want to just take the initiative to help those striving artists to actually take their music to another level, what we call actually raising the bar so that we can compete on a world level.
CEO of Elnet Maritime Limited, Albert Hepburn, is the founder of Elnet Empowerment Foundation. He says this challenge was all about empowering Grand Bahamians and giving them the opportunity he never had when he began his business several years ago. They all say they've waited many years for a moment like this.
I feel like a burden is off of my shoulder, and now I can move forward and do what I have to do.
Lost for words. I'd like to publicly thank Mr. Ellie Hepburn of Elnet Maritime for even giving us the opportunity to become our own entrepreneurs, and hopefully we can be able to also give back and empower other young people through this.
And I'm grateful to Mr. Ellie Hepburn of Elnet and his fine staff, his judges, and I hope that my business will someday be of empowerment to other upcoming business entrepreneurs.
Challenge coordinator Natika Wade says this is a bittersweet moment, and it is the hope of the founder that these participants will invest in the Grand Bahama community and become successful entrepreneurs who will also inspire others.
The whole entire challenge was empowering, so now I'm just waiting to see these individuals start their businesses. I can't wait to check in on them next year to see how their businesses are going.
Each winner of the challenge presented their favorite charity with a check of $500. And as a surprise twist to the challenge, the CEO gave an additional $5,000 to 2020 Bone Fishing Guide Services for their passion.
That business could not just walk into a bank and say, we want to borrow money to buy a boat, a bone fishing boat. They won't see their vision, but Mr. Hepburn saw the vision, the judges saw their vision, I saw their vision, so we decided to give them extra money towards their business.
Shashina Roll, ZNS Network News. In other news, the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board announcing the appointment of Carmel Churchill as the board's new director of marketing. Churchill is a certified manager. She will be responsible for the coordination and execution of all support functions of tourism board sales, promotions and marketing, assisting the direction and overseeing of the organization's policies, objectives, and general initiatives. She will also be responsible for reviewing changes and trends in the workplace. Chairman of the board, Russell Miller, says Churchill's appointment comes at a time when the Grand Bahama tourism economy is beginning to see significant increases in its overnight passenger numbers. Switching gears now, nominations for candidates in the Grand Bahama Christian Council elections expected to come to a close at the end of the month. So far, a slate of candidates has emerged to run for various positions, including that of president. This coming after all positions within the council were dissolved after a vote of no confidence was moved against the then president, Keith Meadows, last month. Pastor of Zion Baptist Church, Freeport, Reverend Peter Pinder, is vying for the top post.
God has endowed his church here on Grand Bahama with many gifts in the form of church leaders. We believe that these gifts should be made available to the body of Christ in general. We shall therefore seek to provide opportunities for churches to access these person gifts from other churches and denominations for the general good of the body of Christ. Grand Bahama needs the Grand Bahama Christian Council.
Now, others vying for key positions are first Vice President Pastor Robert Lockhart, who was not in attendance at Tuesday's press briefing, second Vice President Apostle Anthony Grant, Board Treasurer Pastor Cedric Beckles, and Secretary Apostle Rita Stewart. Endorsing this latest group is the Pastors Forum. President Pastor Wilbur Ouden and Bishop Cardinal McIntosh says it is time for the restoration of the church, and this team is up to the challenge.
I believe that the group that has been assembled represent a broad cross-section of the Christian community here on the island of Grand Bahama, and we are convinced that they would restore a level of stability and, like Pastor Pinder said, would work toward uniting the body of Christ as we seek to move forward.
And I believe the answer, as always was, still continues to be the Christian church. And when we are providing seasoned, anointed, right, visionary leadership, I believe that we can really begin to move our city forward and even the nation forward. So I heartily endorse this. The candidates that have presented themselves after much prayer and deliberation, I believe that this is really the timing for God for our city in the area of the Christian Council to restore its integrity and the vision for the Christian church in our city.
Now, that nomination process will close out on April 30th. The Grand Bahama Christian Council elections will be held on May 13th. And this is Holy Week, a sacred time on the Christian calendar when many pause to reflect on the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. A highlight of this solemn period is the Good Friday observance. Once again, the Grand Bahama Christian Council is preparing to lead the Grand Bahama community in the annual March to Calvary throughout the island on Friday morning beginning at 7 a.m. Bishop Zobik Camp is coordinating the event for Central Grand Bahama.
The first service will be held at St. Paul's Methodist Church at 7 a.m. prompt, after which the procession, led by the popular Legion's marching band, will head east on Sunrise Highway and then north on Coral Road to the Community at Heart Tabernacle, where the second service will be conducted. After the first service and after the second service, the march will proceed from Coral Road to Gambia Drive, heading west to the Freedom International Ministries World Outreach Center for the final service.
Now, Bishop Arnold Pinder Jr. is leading the charge in East Grand Bahama, while Reverend Dr. John C. Wallace is responsible for West Grand Bahama.
We will begin at St. Nicholas Anglican in High Rock, and we will proceed to the Church of God for our second service, and we will be closing out in the lawn of Emmanuel Baptist Church in High Rock.
The march will commence at 7 a.m. and it will begin at the Church of God in Hannah Hill, 8 Mile Rock. Following that service there, we will move west on Queens Highway to the Central Zion Baptist Church, where a second service will be held. And following that service, we'll move to Mount Zion Baptist Church in 8 Mile Rock, where our third service will be held.
A visiting band spreading more than just their musical notes here on Grand Bahama. The Fort Myers Marching Band recently participated in the Grand Bahama Festival, an event that provided a forum for all of the bands on the island to put their musical skills to a test. With the Success Festival now in the books, the Fort Myers Band has decided to make a donation to the local groups. Today, the Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, witnessed the handover of musical equipment valued at around $18,000. Among the recipients, the Bahamas Brass Band, the Legends, Pioneers, and Pathfinders bands.
The island of Grand Bahama can anticipate great returns on this investment as we entrust our band leaders to continue to develop our local talent and work towards the export of this form of musical talent throughout the world. The success of the first annual Bahamas Band Festival is a testament of the strength of the spirit of our wonderful culture channeled through strong government agency partnerships. I therefore take this opportunity to encourage all band members and aspiring musicians to be involved in positive activities and programs and to give back to their community and to represent our nation with excellence.
Now, this band festival is expected to become a signature event on the Ministry of Tourism's calendar. The Ministry of Tourism partnering with the Ministry of Youth to pull off the musical salute, and these partners are looking to expand the offering next year.
The economic impact of the tourism dollar on this festival alone produced positive results as the vendors surrounding businesses in the downtown area expressed gratitude in the amount of business that was brought to their establishments. We are placing a significant focus on the continued development of this festival, and we are actively seeking out more national and international bands to be featured in our next year's Grand Bahama Band Festival.
Stay with us, Ricardo Lightborn, as a check on sports when we return.
Hey everybody, it's sports time. I'm Ricardo Lightborn, and to the folks in Bimini, you guys have a great time during your homecoming. Well, the Grand Bahama Secondary School Athletic Association Basketball Awards presented at the Tabernacle Baptist Academy, and for good reason. Let's go to that report.
Deputy Director for Education, Mrs. Sandra Etchcombe, with the front row seat for this one. The occasion, the High School Basketball Awards presentation, and student athletes all excited. The awards for the outstanding play in basketball this year. Giving back, strive for excellence was the motto. The youth pastor and founder of the Falcons Boys Club, Darren Roll, drove the message home to phys ed teachers and coaches of athletes. Wake up and do your part.
And at each school, you have 3 physical education teachers, and in most cases, at least one of them went off to school for what? Track and field scholarship, or basketball scholarship, or swimming scholarship. And if they didn't go on a scholarship and they paid, still their schoolmates are coaches. You know how many children we can get off to school? There's some coaches who've been here who went off to school, and excuse me if they get mad, that's their business, for 10 years. Some of them went up to Division I, some of them were on national television, and they can't tell you one child who they made a contact with their former schoolmates. Can't tell you one.
Scott Forbes and Franco Miller sponsored the junior division and shared in the celebration. Igmorog Blue Jays are the under-13 champions, and Natasha Curry, the coach. The girls' MVP, Delia Rigby. The Capital Guy Crusaders, this year's runners-up, they're coached by Orrin McPhee. The Tabernacle Falcons are the boys' under-13 champions, coached by Kevin Clark. The most valuable player, well, that's Tajura Russell. The boys' runners-up, Sister Mary Patricia Russell. The Tabernacle Falcons won the junior girls title, coached by Quincy Gray. Deandra Nixon is the MVP. The Falcons of Tabernacle also won the boys' title. They're coached by Kevin Clark. Sharon Kemp is the most valuable player. The senior girls champions, the St. George's Lady Jaguars, coached by Stephanie Higgs and Lincoln Forbes. Tanya Davis is the MVP. The boys in the 17 champion, the Tabernacle Falcons, coached by Darren Roll, and Kevon Russell is the MVP. The senior boys and tip-off winners, the Falcons of Tabernacle Baptist Academy, and they've got the rings to show off. By the way, Mrs. Edgecombe also is a champion. She, too, has a ring to prove it.
Mrs. Edgecombe, well, the Grand Bahama Basketball Association Championships completed last night at the St. George's Gym, folks. The Grand Bahama Shipyard Cruisers won the Division I Fritz Nautilus title, sweeping the Iraq Stars 91-82 in Game 1. Marco Cooper and Quinton Hall both with some 21 points in that. 91-81 in Game 2. Anton Thompson scoring 24 points to pace the Cruisers. 97-75 last night to score in Game 3 for the series sweep. Amado Hepburn and Anton Thompson both with 19 points for the Cruisers. Clemente Martin at 16 losing cause. As far as the Division 2 Derek Isaacs series, Reach Out Saints, they swept the Seagrave Saints 86-69. Keena Russell with a 34-point game, and Heward Williams scored some 17 and losing cause. They all get ready now for the Bahamas Basketball Federation Nationals in New Providence next month. It's going to be a blast. Those Cruisers are going to be tough to beat. Let's look at sports in Bimini. You guys have a great holiday weekend. We'll be seeing you, though, on Monday.